Hey guys, it's Josh here and welcome to my first Get Famous speed build. I'm actually really excited to share this build with you guys since I'm actually really happy with how this turned out, especially since I was able to use terrain tools. It's so exciting. Even today using terrain tools is so exciting even though it came out last week, but honestly it just makes the game, well, it just makes the building game that much better since after 4 years of being forced to build on flat land, it gets a little boring after a while, and honestly once terrain tools came out it just made it so much more fun again. Building was always fun and it was always fun before terrain tools, but this just made it that much more fun. It just brings the building game to a whole nother level, and I'm only still learning how to use it in really creative ways. But anyway, this house is a LA style house because since Get Famous came out and the world is loosely based off Hollywood, well, I think it's really strongly based off Hollywood and the LA aesthetic of the suburbs, I decided to build an LA style house which would probably go well inside Del Sol Valley, and obviously this is being built inside Del Sol Valley because it's such an amazing world. It could be a little bit bigger, but honestly as I said in one of my previous videos, the detail and decorations are really amazing. Even if you look behind the house, there's these amazing murals, which obviously did not have to be there, but they look amazing. And I'm pretty sure you can actually use those as a wall decor as well. So if you kind of want a graffiti looking thing, you can actually place those as decorations, which is so cool. But anyway, this house has 3 bedrooms, one being a kid's bedroom and the other 2 just being bigger bedrooms with double beds inside them, and one of those do have a ensuite, and then there's also another bathroom, so there's 2 bathrooms, one being an ensuite, and also there's a large open planned living, dining and kitchen area which also happens to have a little study nook as well. And as you can see, there's also going to be another building outside which is actually a garage of some sort. I did keep the decorations inside the garage to a minimum, so if you wanted to, you could easily convert it to something else, perhaps a secondary house, a 4th bedroom or something, who knows. Because honestly, if there was a rebellious teen that really wanted to live by themselves but couldn't really afford it, they could set up in here. Or it could be some kind of recording studio, that's an idea. But anyway, we're almost ready to move inside, but first we have to place the windows. Honestly, the Get Famous windows are so amazing because there's they added so many, but most of them have the same look and they have the same aesthetic, so they go so well together, as you can see. So basically for this house I used only the Get Famous windows, and honestly it doesn't look repetitive to me because there was just so many variants, and it just made it look really varied while keeping the look and feel exactly the same, because they just change up the frames and the sizes as well, so it just makes a big difference and it looks so much better. But anyway, as you can see, the house has actually been placed on a little bit of a hill, so although half of the house is on foundations, the entry area is actually not on foundations, so you can actually walk into the house without climbing upstairs. That's always a plus, and I feel like this lot wouldn't have handled really big tall terrain that well, so I just decided to keep it really simple by just having a little raised area just to break up the space a little bit, because I don't think from this point forward I'm ever going to build a house on purely flat land because terrain tools are here and I want to use them, so I don't think I'm ever going to build a house on flat land before, unless it's based off a house that's on flat land. But anyway, we're just extending a few places because the house was a little bit boxy, so I did try and make it a little bit more varied by having bits poking out. We're almost done placing the windows. This has taken longer than I expected, and then we'll move straight inside and start with the interior because the interiors to me are always the more fun part. We're inside now placing the floor plan. The bedrooms actually are quite big, but in this build I do shrink one down. In all of my builds I usually make my bedrooms really big to start with, which is so annoying because I try not to, but in the end half the time I end up keeping them really big. The interior is overall a sort of mid-century feel because this Get Famous pack actually added a couple, well actually not a couple, a lot of really cool pieces of mid-century looking furniture. We are in the kitchen now. As per usual, I think I always start in the kitchen. And we're just keeping with the basic color scheme of browns, and the kitchen is overall brown, but I do add a few pops of color through that calendar on the side of the fridge, which I think looks cool in the location. But imagine if you could put the calendar on the fridge of on the door of the fridge, that would have been really cool. But anyway, the kitchen doesn't take that much longer, and then we move into the dining area. And one thing I'll point out is those bar stools look absolutely amazing because they look so unique compared to all the other bar stools, and they just look so modern. Like, up until this point, I've basically only really used like that one base game stool that's like the really like circular looking one. Like, that was my favorite one because it was just so simple, and this is just as simple and it looks so amazing. So I think that bar stool would be like the one I always use now. And if you noticed, the dining table is all Get Famous as well, and those chairs look amazing, especially since they match perfectly with the bar stools, because it's just so much easier to make good looking rooms when all the swatches just like synergize with each other, because color combinations, they're really tricky, but if the swatches are all the same, it makes it a lot easier to make seamless color combinations, and it just brings the room to a whole nother level. But now we are moving on to the lounge room. It's quite small, but I feel like if you're creative and wanted to reshuffle the room, if you download this, you could quite easily change it up and possibly like move the lounge room out of this little nook corner and maybe swap it with the study area. Since the study area is pretty big, but I've decided not to put the lounge room there because I feel like the traffic between that area would be quite high, and I don't think Sims would want people walking in front of the TV screen often. So I decided to put the lounge room in this little area right here, and I think it looks decent since it's kind of like separated away from the rest of this room, so it's a little bit more like tucked away. And this room does have a lot of clutter, so it would be a good idea to like tuck it away a little bit out of sight. Even though it's still clearly visible, it's just tucked away in the corner, so it's less like prominent, while you keep the rest of the room, the dining area and the kitchen, like the main features, because they look a lot better in my opinion, and they have a lot less clutter, so it's a lot easier to look at. But anyway, we're just placing the few basic pieces of clutter, and then we move on to the study area. We will go back as per usual and clutter up each of the rooms at the end. I do try and not go overboard, since I know some of you guys watching do like to keep clutter to a minimum. So when I do clutter my rooms, I usually try and like not go overboard. If you see the house, like the builds for my personal saves, you'd probably like be so like shocked at how much clutter I use, because honestly, like I think every slot and more gets used up when I place clutter, because I use cheats to like lift clutter to the tables, and you can place them wherever you want basically, instead of being confined to the clutter slots. But in this build, I try not to do that as much and just keep it to a minimum, and some of the tables I think I leave empty just because I just wanted to keep clutter to a minimum. But anyway, honestly, these rugs from Get Famous are so amazing, because like they're just so modern, and we have nothing like it in the game. We have like the zebra print rugs, but I don't usually use those, but the other ones, like the modern looking ones, they look so sleek and amazing. And also, do you know that ruined looking rug in Get Famous? If you haven't checked it out yet, you should check it out, because it actually tricks you into thinking that it's a ruined rug. But if you change the swatches, some of them are actually really modern and some of them are really bougie. So if you were disappointed that you could only find one mid-century looking rug, the ruined rug actually has a few modern swatches as well. So if you haven't checked it out yet, you should definitely check it out, because honestly it looks amazing. But anyway, we are moving on to the bedrooms now. The master bedroom is really lightly colored. There's a few light browns, and there's also a lot of white as well. I think most of the house doesn't have a lot of white, but this bedroom does have a lot of white, and I think it looks really nice, and it just makes this room in particular feel really bright, which I think looks really nice. And there's also a ensuite area which we haven't started yet, but we will move on to, and it does have both bathrooms have a dual shower bath, since even though the main bathroom was actually fairly big, the door was in a really awkward position, so I wasn't really able to make use of a separate bath and shower. The door just made it that much harder to make the room, or to lay out the room, because I didn't really want to move the door either, since if I move the door I'd have to change the lounge area as well, which probably isn't the best. But anyway, now we're moving on to the kids' bedroom, and I'm really happy with how this turned out, since I did fit in 2 beds and I think it turned out really nice. I was able to put in lots of storage cabinets, I guess, for the children's clothes and books, and I did put some toys down as well, which I thought was really cute. And honestly, like, this house, it's not that big, but you can fit in so many Sims, because both of the main bedrooms could be potentially 2 Sims, and then the kids' bedroom is another 2 Sims, so that's 6 Sims in total, and that's like pretty amazing. Like, imagine sharing this bathroom though with 4 Sims. At least the Sims living in the master bedroom get their own bathroom. Imagine if there was only 1 bathroom in the house. That'd be kind of crazy. But anyway, here we are with the main bathroom. As you can see, like, I had a little bit of trouble fitting everything in, since the door just made everything a lot harder. But in the end, I do just make the shower and bath into one, and that just basically made it really easy to place all the pieces of furniture, or the appliances rather. And yeah, there goes the sink, there goes the window, and there's also a few bath rugs or bath towels, like. And then after that, we move into the secondary bedroom, which I think could be like a guest bedroom or just a teen's bedroom of some sort, if you just change up the furniture a little bit, or maybe just a young adult that still lives with their parents, maybe, who knows, it could be anything. It could even become like a study if you wanted to be honest. But anyway, this is probably the least colourful of the bedrooms, because if this was going to potentially be a guest bedroom, I feel like it'll just be pretty basic and pretty just simple in terms of colour scheme. So I just kept it the regular brown colour scheme, which fits in with the rest of the house. But I feel like this room, compared to the other rooms in the house, is a lot darker. I'm not sure why I chose to make it darker, but I feel like it just looks nice. This room is basically like the Seasons bedroom, since I used the Seasons bed and the Seasons bedside tables, but then here I used some bowling night stuff and Get Famous stuff, which I think looks absolutely amazing. Like those dresses from Get Famous, when I first saw them, I didn't really think I liked them, but then when I started building with it, I started to like it a lot, and the swatches are a lot better, because the default swatch was what put me off a little bit, but when I saw all the other swatches, I was like, wow, this is actually pretty decent. And I feel like if I ever do another modern house, I'd use the white swatches of those. Like, if I did another white modern house like I always do, I'd probably really like to use those dresses, since it's a really nice change. Because like, I think when I do modern houses that are mostly white, I don't really have many dresser options apart from like that base game one that's got the really big curves on the side, and then maybe the built-in one with the white swatch. But now I'll have another option. But anyway, we're actually nearing the completion of the interior, so we'll be able to move to the exterior very shortly. The exterior is pretty simple, but I made sure that there was a decent amount of space, so that if you wanted to like expand or potentially like overhaul the backyard temporarily to be some kind of like party location, like you could put like the, what do you call it, the backyard stuff water slide down. Like, I'm pretty sure the backyard is big enough for that. I don't remember if it was, but if it isn't, you could potentially just delete a few things or move a few things for temporarily, and then you'd be able to place it down, because those water slides from backyard stuff, I don't use those enough, and they're honestly so much fun to use, and the interactions are so cool. Like, you can just see people failing or succeeding at sliding on the water slide, which I think looks pretty cool. But anyway, we're basically done inside now, and I'm just starting to place the exterior pieces of furniture. On the backyard deck area, there is a barbecue and sitting space, which I think looks really cool, and I don't often use the curved sides or the curved foundation, so it was pretty interesting to be able to use it. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but I think I quite like it. And I do add a few Seasons objects in there, like the beekeeping area, and I also add the florist table. And as I said earlier, the garage stays pretty empty. I didn't do too much to it, so it would be really easy to change up if you wanted to. And there goes the florist table, and also there's a few gardening boxes or planter boxes as well. They're the really big planter boxes, so the ones that can fit in 4 plants, and I placed 3 of them, I believe. So if your Sim's a gardener, this would be like the perfect house for them. And there's also a basketball ring for the child Sims that could be living in this house. But anyway, I think we're almost done here, so I'll let you guys off here. There will be screenshots at the end of this, so definitely stay tuned for that. Once again, if you'd like to find this build on the gallery, just look me up on the gallery under IllogicalSims. The house will be called LA Home. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!